feel absolutely free to raise your hands and let us know that you have a question, or put something in the chat box, and we'll be monitoring that. I'm going to ask that Anna help me monitor that, so we can make sure that we get your questions and answers going. But please, this session is for you. This workshop is for you. Please don't. We sort of have a roadmap for what the day is going to look like, but if there's more that you want out of today, I absolutely want you to help us shape it, because you're new and we want to be able to help you start very strong with EMAS. Some of you have been around with EMAS for quite some time, but there's a new approach to EMAS with our recent new products, so we have a slightly different approach to doing enrollment management. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. Your two presenters, I'm there on the left. I'm Sarah. Hello. And on the right is Bart Harvey. He is, I'm going to say, 5 days into his new role as the Executive Director of Undergraduate Admissions at Valparaiso. He has been with EMAS for a very long time and is a certified EMAS trainer, meaning he does trainings for different clients on different campuses for us, as well as at conferences. And he's also a NAC member, so he helps shape our direction as a company based on needs and inputs from clients. And he is one of those focal members and advisors for us. So welcome, Bart. Thank you very much for being with us today, because I know life is very busy in your new role, and we appreciate all the time and insights you can offer us today.
That's great. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate that.
Yeah. We also have from the EMAS side, Anna Gosselin has joined us as well. So she is on the line and will offer advice and will interject and offer comments in the comment boxes, that kind of thing as well. There may be a few other EMAS staff members along, and as I notice them come into the attendance roster, we'll include them as well. All right, so for today, our current agenda is to do welcome and introductions. We'll do intros in just a minute, so I'm just going to plant a seed that we're going to ask you all to say a little bit about yourself. If you're shy vocally, we encourage you to put something in the chat box to let us know who you are and why you decided to spend 45 minutes with us, an hour with us today, and talking about EMAS and what we can offer you of value in those 60 minutes. Then we'll dive into an overview of EMAS based on your interests. We sort of have a bit of a roadmap and a plan to share with you, like I said, the one customizable solution, the EMAS Enrollment Management Action System. And then we'd like to talk to you about, as a whole bunch of group of leaders, senior leaders, middle managers that are running EMAS as well as EMAS teams. Is there a cohort that we can bring you together in, and maybe you can share with each other, connect with each other, ask each other questions. So the more you talk today, the more we hope that you'll sort of, oh, I know Gino, oh, I know Daniel, oh, I know Ashley, and oh, she's got skills I need, or he's got information I need, or I know he asked about this and I know how to do this, let me offer him that. So is there a way that by the end of today's session you know enough about each other that you feel comfortable and not shy to do a cold call with each other and say, hey, can you help me with these reports, or what are you doing for whatever it is that might be keeping you up at night. So we, EMAS, offer a level of training, but your professional colleagues in EMAS might offer you insights because you're live users and have the challenges as well as the obligations that you do. So we're hoping that we can build a cohort for you if that's of use. And then finally, we'll close out with some EMAS-U resources and some next steps. Having said that, what I'd like to do is just do a round robin of folks that come in. We're going to start with Bart, and then we're going to go to Ashley and work on down alphabetically for those who are EMAS users. If you could offer your name, your institution, what you do with EMAS, how many EMAS members are part of your team, either that you supervise or that you're a part of a team, and then what do you want out of today? And we'll start there. Bart, go ahead.
Okay, well, like everybody said, my name is Bart Harvey. I am currently the Executive Director of Undergraduate Admission here at Valparaiso University, which is in the northwest corner of Indiana, just outside of Chicago. I've been in higher ed for 16 years, been at Valpo for 11 of those. We've been with EMAS for 8 years, and I guess I've kind of been at a director level of some sort for about 8 years as well. With EMAS, actually, with this new role, my roles in EMAS are probably going to be changing here. But in the past, I've been primarily the communications management person, and just overall strategy of how we're going to use EMAS, training the staff, and those kinds of resources here on campus. We have about, let's see, 15 traveling counseling staff members that range from entry level to director levels that still have recruiting territories, and probably 6 support staff that use it, and then a variety of folks across campus that are using EMAS in some way or another, whether it be faculty, coaches, advisors, either using the client itself or EMAS Mobile. So, and I'm just here today just to help oversee, and just I told Sarah I'd help facilitate some of this discussion, and I don't claim to have any answers, but the discussion is good, and I can always learn as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Bart. Ashley, you're up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Ashley Pellegrino. I'm from Salisbury University on the Eastern Shore of Maryland. I've been in higher education for 3 years. All of those years have been spent at Salisbury. I started out at the counselor level doing some basic stuff in EMAS, and for the past year and some months, I've been in a new assistant director position, so I've been tasked with learning more about EMAS. So basically any chance I can get to do a workshop, I try to, so that I can basically intake as much about EMAS as I possibly can. Our entire office basically utilizes EMAS in some form or another. So the more I can know about EMAS, the better I can also show the rest of our staff as well. So I'm really here for anything I can learn about EMAS. I'm on board.
Awesome, Ashley. Thank you. And we're here to help you with that. All of us on the call. That's great. Carmela. Are you able to hear us, Carmela? I don't know if you're... All right, Carmela, we're going to come back to you. Cody, can I ask you to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Cody Spitz. I'm with Eastern New Mexico University. I have been in the admissions field for going in my 16th year, and I'm here because even as an old director, it's always cool to hear what new directors might be doing. So I'm basically just kind of being a fly on the wall today.
Cool. Thanks, Cody.
Yep.
Daniel, you're up.
Hi, I'm Dan Vargas from Buffalo State College. I just started using EMAS about 2 months ago. I'm the coordinator of graduate recruitment here. So any opportunity I have to learn about EMAS, kind of taking part in. Oh, and Carmela Thompson is here. She is going to introduce herself too.
Hi, everyone. Not sure why you couldn't hear me earlier. I didn't have my mute on, but this is Carm Thompson from Buffalo State. You just heard from Dan Vargas. He's our new recruiter, and I have actually had quite a bit of experience with EMAS at the undergraduate level. This summer, I moved to the graduate school, where I will be helping out with marketing and recruitment toward achieving some enrollment growth. So really just, join the call to kind of hear what's new and how we can continue to use EMAS here at Buffalo State at the graduate level.
Awesome, Carmela. Thanks for joining, both of you. It's awesome. We have 2 from the same school. That's a great representative, and from different levels. That's fantastic. Gino, you're up.
Hi, I'm Gino Gamino at the University of Wisconsin Parkside, so on the southeastern part of Wisconsin. I'm brand new to this position. I'm the new Internet Technology Specialist for the university. I got hired on about 2 weeks ago. So this is my first experience with EMAS as well. I've been using it pretty much since day one. And my relationship with it, from what I've been gaining here and there and what I've been working with some of the other staff with, I'm pretty much going to be the administrator for it, and definitely helping out all of our other staff and staff student members get accustomed to everything and how to use it, on top of doing training sessions here and there. I think right now we have a total of about 15 staff people and about 6 student workers who all use it. And I'm just here today to get as much knowledge as I can.
Great, great, thank you. Roxy, you're up.
Hi, this is Roxy Pearson. I'm from Emporia State University Admissions in the middle of it all in Kansas, and I have Kate Kryman here with me. I've been with the institution 20 plus years and all in admissions, and we've been with EMAS off and on for a long time. And we basically, I'll let Kate introduce what she does.
Okay.
Everyone hear me?
You're a bit faint, but yes.
Okay, I'm Kate Kryman. I was hired full-time at ESU in April, but I was here as a graduate student previously, and I'm at the electronic recruiter, so I work with Roxy on EMAS, and we've been doing a lot with Campaign Pro. That's been a lot of work right now. So kind of new, still learning, but I think I'm getting the hang of it now.
We're the EMAS data team, and we basically take care of the databases, and we've been working with Campaign Builder, which is great, and we basically decided to attend today so we could learn. We're always looking for new ideas and hopefully create a group of networking clients that we can go to if we have questions or bounce ideas off of each other.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Great. Thanks, Roxy. And Kate, and another on campus, 2 folks from the same campus represented. That's great. Okay, let's dive in. I think let us know if you have deeper diving questions, right? I might say something and you're like, I have no idea what you're talking about, Sarah, and I'd love to hear that from you. Just because in my rule of how things work, if one person asks the question, there's 10 people that wanted to ask the question but didn't necessarily feel the courage to do so. So already, if you have a question, think of yourself in a room of 10 people, and you're all wanting to ask that question and use that to sort of prompt our conversation together. Initially, for those of you who are brand new, and Gino, this may be useful for you as right, so because you're coming into enrollment management for the very first time, that our enrollment management action system, EMAS, E-M-A-S, is based heavily on the enrollment funnel, because you need to find an entire prospect pool large enough that you can nurture the right students to become your ideal class. Right, so and we articulate, the industry, but in our lineage, in our genealogy, we're well connected to the folks that initially started talking about the enrollment funnel as a system, with the 6 different stages. The prospect as anybody that could possibly come to your institution, to the inquiry, anybody who has made any kind of action towards coming to your institution by phone or email or outreach or showed up at an event, and then somebody who's gone the extra step and actually applied, and then people that you said you want to come to your institution, the decision, people who have confirmed and said, yes, I'm coming, and given you perhaps a deposit, and then finally the folks who show up. So EMAS is heavily based on this system, as EMAS as a database, a relational database. Excuse me, and so everything we do is related to this funnel. We are moving away from a dependency on product names and titles. We're looking to offer one sort of evolve to being one system. So those of you who are relatively new, we might say things like you use Recruitment Pro or you use Campaign Pro. We're moving more towards here's what the entire action system can do for you in the in nurturing people through that enrollment funnel. The mobility is top at the moment because that's very new. We launched it in 2015, but it means you can do EMAS anywhere in the world as long as you have an internet connection. And that's relatively new. It's a new way of thinking about EMAS, whereas before some folks were tied to their desk because it was a database tied to their desktop. It no longer is that. The second thing we have for you is our data dashboards. We're another new item, another new action, another new workflow we want to coach our users towards is that you start every day with data. Instead of opening up EMAS Recruitment Pro, you would open up the Kaleidoscope dashboards and find out what's happening with your students as a result of yesterday or as a result of last week or as a result of the high school visit that I just did last night. So those data dashboards are designed for you to be agile on an ongoing, almost daily basis. But you don't have to use them on a daily basis depending on your institution's bandwidth and I might say sort of how assertively you're nurturing those students. And then a very new thing also is our likelihood to enroll enrollment performance analytics capabilities. So we now have the scoring capabilities to be able to say of all those students in your enrollment funnel, which ones are likely to enroll. And so you might choose that smaller pool, right? If you're short on people, you're short on budgets, you're short on time, you might take that ESI score, we call it, and narrow your communications, narrow your marketing, narrow your events, narrow your direct mailing to those students who are likely to enroll, focus on them to get them through the funnel as quickly as possible, and then take your next group of students who are second most likely to enroll, for instance. And so we hope that, and that was just introduced this last spring, so that's very, very new. But it is within your capabilities, within the Kaleidoscope umbrella, to be able to use your data to help you make the right decisions on who to move towards. We haven't really put managing territories on a learning training before. That's happened in the last year, where EMAS can help you manage your territories, and that covers a variety of different products and services. So those of you who might have come to our workshops this fall, those were the first time we've offered any kind of cross-product, cross-solution approach to managing your territories. How do you plan your travel? How do you know which students to go and visit? How do you use the heat maps to help inform who you phone call? Those kinds of things, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then we also just added something new to our scope too that was this summer, and Cody and Roxy are trailblazers on this for us. We now have a way of helping you create emails that can be built by anybody on campus. So if you're strapped and don't have the time, but your art department or your athletic department wants to be able to reach out to their left-handed baseball pitchers, you can say, here, write the email and I'll send it. And that kind of delegation of responsibility, delegation of creation can go to them. But the control, the marketing, the branding, the making sure that it looks right, is spelled right, and is sent to the right people can all stay within your wonderful little hands. And so we're very excited to share that part too today. We'll do a little bit more with that. And of course, you all know how that EMAS sends batch emails to all of your students. We also have the capability of helping you analyze your email campaign performance so that you can up your game either before the next email you send or from year to year as you send the same email over and over again in your campaign plans.
We will probably be going live next Friday with our departments.
Oh, you're awesome. Go you, Cody. Wow.
That's how easy it was to get this implemented.
Say that one more time.
That's how easy it was to get this product implemented.
Can you share just a little bit of an overview on what that means for the new folks that have no idea what Campaign Builder does?
Basically, what we're going to be able to do, we've set up a template that our departments will be able to go out and type up their email, send it out. The training on it is very, very simple. It's a click and point, drag kind of thing. Honestly, the biggest part, what took us the longest time is getting our buttons fixed. We're still trying to get our buttons fixed.
Oh, gosh.
Because it looks different in the screen, and then when you send an email, so it's just it's one of our settings, and finding the pictures we want to use. That is what's been taking us the most time.
Yeah, those images are really key, aren't they? Especially in this graphic world. Yeah, that's great. Well, we're going to open up with EMAS Campaign Builder probably second in line when we go to kind of do a bit of a tour. Do you mind sharing more, and if people have questions, being able to answer? And Roxy, if I could tap you for the same as well?
Sure.
Sure.
Cool. Okay, so that's really fun. That's just really fun. And just following down the list there, we have inquiry forms, we have application forms that you can build that can be logic-based if you need them to be. You can manage events through EMAS. You can even manage upload and manage student documents. So we're finding that as recruiters are out on the road, right, students can sometimes stuff transcripts and applications and a videotape or a CD or a DVD in your hands, and you don't know what to do with them. But we have a file upload system. If you can scan them in, you can upload them straight into EMAS anywhere you can get hold of a scanner. So we have that capability as well. And of course, you can make and schedule and plan for telephone calls, whether it's a recruiter plan, right? If one recruiter wants to make sure that they have what they need in a call script, just to know who and how they're going to call each of their students to get them from one stage to the next, an individual recruiter might create their own call plan, or you might have a system, right, a staff-wide, team-wide commitment to what those calls should be, and you can script them out and assign them to everybody. So all counselors could do it, and that might then be called a telecounseling program. So the gamut of how do I track the phone calls I make as an individual in EMAS, and then how do we have a standard telecounseling program, and both of those, that entire scale can be managed with EMAS. And then we're very excited to share, because it's not yet out. Well, it is out with 9.2.1 release, which is coming in the next couple of weeks. Our clients will be able to send text messages, so that when you're mobile, when you're on your phone in Timbuktu somewhere, and you want to be able to text message a student, you can do that. You can do that eventually, not immediately, but you can do that from your phone, and then certainly you can batch text message to your students by Christmas, by the holidays, which we're very excited for, because many people, especially a couple of folks on the call, have been seeking text messaging from EMAS through EMAS, tracked in EMAS for quite some time. So we're very excited to be able to bring that to you. Questions about the capabilities of the Enrollment Management Action System, or Anna, Roxy, Cody, Bart, from your experiences, what's missing from this list that I didn't remember to put up there? Are we good?
I think the list is pretty comprehensive.
Okay.
I can't think of anything that you've left off.
Okay. All right, as they come up, that's cool. Thank you, Bart, for that. For those who are relatively new, very new, we gather all of those things that you can do with EMAS into basic job competencies, because it could be that not one person does all of those things, right? You might have a team or 15 that divide and conquer the work that needs to be done, and so we we divide that into job competency. So if somebody's going to be in charge of managing events, and so all of our resources on EMSU and our videos and our user guides, everything related to managing events can be in one place. Same thing with how to use student data and the rest of it, how to communicate effectively. So all of our resources, which I'll show you at the end, are grouped, we hope, in a way that helps you say, I need to be good at this for my job, and so how do I find that in EMAS? How do I do that in EMAS? So our best intention is to help you and the rest of your team be good at your jobs by using our CRM. Is there one, this is where I'm gonna, oh, thank you very much, Carmela. Yes, reports is something that, oh, I totally need to put that on the list. Need to put reports on the list, and I will do that. Thank you. Is there one or more of the things we've talked about that you absolutely want to learn about today on the call? So if we don't get there today, it will feel like a wasted day. What is it that's bubbling up that you want to know more about, having me just done that summary and you see this list? Anything? I think Carmela might want to do reports. Anybody in particular want to know more about anything so far? Okay. Then I'm going to take you on this tour. A little bit about what's happening for us and EMAS. So let me open it up to starting with start your day with data. So EMAS Kaleidoscope is the tool we start with, that we are encouraging everybody to start their day with, not just you as managers or senior leaders of EMAS or a project called EMAS, but also every recruiter, each one of those 15 people that are a part of your team, to start here with data. And here's what this does. And Roxy's a fantastic trailblazer for this. I think many of the other folks on the call are as well. But essentially, EMAS Kaleidoscope, like you have a kaleidoscope tool, right? As you turn the kaleidoscope, you see different things because they're illuminated in different ways. And these are the twists on the left-hand side. As you twist and turn these different dashboards, you'll get different insights. I'm going to start with this data overview because this essentially is why data is important. So those of you who are database managers, you're going to see very quickly why managing data in a very good way is important. This particular university, we call it EMSU, so just replace this with your institution's name, has 7,000 students that are in the system. That covers 4 terms, 4 entry terms, 3 statistical years, and 10 market segments. On average, for those 7,600 people, on average, the local ACT score is 25. So if you were to say, hey, what is our general admissions rate or interest rate for the students in our pipeline, the entire enrollment funnel, what is that number? And for this particular university, it happens to be 25. Same thing with our local SAT score and our average high school GPA, which seems awfully high for some reason. And then these over here on the right-hand side, these are the schools, the states, the counties that feed us the most students, right? So it's important to know where your sources are, right? And who feeds us the most in terms of the number of students that enter our institution. This data is static, but it changes as you upload data into your system, but it doesn't. Does this show you everyone in EMAS correct? Yes. I want to make sure that we catch that comment. Or is it preset to, okay, so what you're asking for in that question actually is really, you're urging, your question I think is getting us to, how do I narrow this down to the students that I want to see, not just everybody blanketly. This is a blanket covering of all the students in the system. I'm going to come here to the enrollment funnel so we can see everybody, all of the students specifically in the system. And so here are the students in the inquiry stage, the students in the the applicant stage, the students in the decided, confirmed, and enrolled stages. So now we can turn the kaleidoscope a little bit, and on the right-hand side, we can say, I don't want to look at everybody in 16 and 17 and 18. I just want to look at students in 16. Oh, and our database doesn't cover that. So I'm going to just cover 17. There we go. Do I have that right? I'm going to move that to just the 17 students. So I'm just looking at the students right now that are in our enrollment funnel for 2017. And then I can equally narrow it down, right? I can kaleidoscope it to just the applicants, right? And I have 818. And of the people who were inquiries, 818 became applicants. And then we can narrow that down. Of those 818, how many of them are freshmen? 702, so that's our biggest market segment. And of those freshmen, how many are coming into the fall of 2017? So we can narrow it down, 702. Wow, that's a lot of students. So if I were a manager, right, I think, wow, I've got a lot of students. I have to delegate all those 702 students to, right, a counselor or two or perhaps 15. And how am I going to do that? Then you can narrow it further down into your different counselors. And this particular counselor, of those 818 or the 702 that are coming this fall, then Sally has 54 that she's currently managing. Ashley, am I answering your question there? Okay, great. All right, another way of looking at this information is, and I like the Data Explorer because we just did the bar charts. In this Data Explorer, it takes just a little minute to load. And by the way, if you all don't have EMAS Kaleidoscope, it's free to all of our clients. So if you don't have it and want it, you please let us know and we'll help you get it. This screen shows you differently how many students are in each stage and how long they stayed there. This is a difficult screen to see because some of the goose eggs aren't representative necessarily, but I'll explain this to you, right? This one says, of the students who applied, right, how quickly did we make a decision on them? And of course, this is bad data, or this data is accurate, but badly doesn't reflect very well on our enrollment management practices, because this says it takes us on average 270 days to move a student who's applied to us to become somebody we've decided should come to our institution. Now, if I were one of those 270 students, I'd be like, why haven't they made a decision on me? I'm going to look elsewhere, right? So the faster you can move somebody through the individual stage that they're in, from 0 to 20 days, 21 to 40, the faster you can move them from applicant to decision. Perhaps that's the agility that you're looking for to beat out your competition, because you can make a decision that the applicant wants as quickly as possible because you know where they are in the funnel. And this wonderfully, right, you can go through here to your students list and see a list of all of those students that you can narrow the funnel on. So if I'm looking at just stage 300, for instance, then I've narrowed it down to all of the students, who've applied. Not everybody in my system, but everybody who's applied. And now I can also narrow it down just to Sally. So Sally's only got 3 students who've applied that she needs to make she needs to get all of their tracking items in place in order for them to be able to be decided upon by your institution. Questions about this? This is where we're hoping, as a tool for recruiters, they could, if they are Sally, they know exactly who they need to be recruiting on any given day based on where they are in the funnel and how long they've been in the funnel, right? The students who've been here for 100+ days, wow, we need to get moving on them. They become our target for today. Let's get those 10 students who are more than 100 days old, and that's it, right? For this number, it doesn't make sense, but if there were only 10 in that 100 plus column, you've got 10 people to focus on today. If you wanted to print this out, you can copy, print, and do all that wonderful stuff. Before I move off of this, so that's the recruiters. It's also, right, for the enrollment managers, the people who are in charge of your staff, in charge of your telecounseling calls, right? So if you're managing, you now have a list of people that you might want to make an extra, a select target group communication plan item in order to be able to focus on those 10 students that need some nurturing through the funnel because you've just identified them in your data insights, right? So we're hoping, it's our intention and has been our plan that if you start your day with 15 minutes worth of a kaleidoscope view, then you've got a plan for who you're going to contact today. Another way of looking at this is, and I'm going to scale this down to just 5 schools. If I wanted to see who are my high schools that are feeding me students, and if you have 20 on your list but only 5 are showing up, then you've got 15 other high schools that you can proactively outreach to and say, hey, we need to get some of your students to campus. How do we do that with you? And then you and that high school counselor can communicate with each other. In this case, you can see that in 2017, this particular school, and it's listed ESIVAL, so ESIVAL, this particular school has no high school name in our database, so there's some database management that needs to happen there, right? So the kaleidoscope is also good for data management. But let's go to, if Crown Point High School, for instance, is this blue one. It's the next in line, 150685 is this blue one. And in 2017, they're feeding us 93 students so far, and this one is feeding us 318 students so far. I would imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine that this school would give us 318 for next fall, 2018. So this high school counselor has a lot of work to do with me as a recruiter, right? Together we need to get that number from 76 up to at least 318 if I need to keep my numbers. And now I have a benchmark, right? 318 is my benchmark that helps me know how well I did last year, how well I have to do, need to do, could do this year. And if I don't get them all from this one, maybe this school is the school I go after. Or check this out. These schools for 2018 aren't even on the radar screen for 2017. So these are perhaps totally new prospects in your high school pool. And that's kind of exciting. Maybe there's only 4, but wow, if they can turn into 318, maybe you have a new source. Maybe a homeschool popped up. I don't know what that possibly could be, but your recruiter now has, or the manager, whoever's in charge of the relationships with high school counselors, now has a reason to call and do proactive outreach. Or perhaps you create a newsletter based on the information you have for their past history, because you can use that beautiful kaleidoscope down here by location, and you can toggle and find by high school. I'm just going to find Indiana. If I'm just focusing on the high schools in Indiana, that works for me. If I'm focusing on a specific high school in Indiana, that's awesome. And in fact, I do have a high school number that I want to put into that just to see what it looks like. Let me get that high school number. I'm going to put that one in here. I have that Penn High School. I want to check that out because maybe I'm going to visit Penn High School this afternoon. And I have 42 students at Penn High School that are interested in coming to my institution. And it could be, right, again, if I toggle back here, which counselor is in charge of those 42 students, we can toggle into that level of detail. For right now, what I want to do, and there's a whole bunch of other things you can do here with Kaleidoscope, but I have a limited time today, but one of the magical things that we're so excited to bring to you is that once you find your 10 students or your 40 students or however many students that you're kaleidoscoping into your to-do list today. Once you find them, then they're listed here for you. And if you have EMAS Mobile Companion at the moment, eventually, once you click on this student number, you'll get straight into EMAS Recruitment Pro, but we're still in the development process. But right now, if you click on this, you're going to come right into EMAS Mobile Companion, which is our other fun thing. And let's just say, if I clicked on that hyperlinked number, I'd come into Betty's record. Now you can picture, and this is so fun for us, and we hope it's good for you, that you could be in a coffee shop, you could be sitting in the lobby at the high school before you're going to go visit, and you can look at Betty and those other 40 students at Penn High School in this list and be able to say, what do I need to tell Betty tonight? What do I know about Betty? Oh, she's got this twin brother, Joey. Okay, that's good information. If I need to have a conversation starter, those notes can help. Do I have all of the documents that she needs to submit? Here, false means no. So I need to tell Betty this afternoon when I do that high school visit that she's got 3 things that she needs to get to me in order for me and our institution to be able to make a decision on her. So Betty might be a high priority for me tonight. Out of the 40 students I'm going to see, I might whittle it down to the 5 that haven't submitted an application yet. Then also, while you're on your phone or your tablet, again, in the coffee shop or in the lobby or even on a plane, you could take a look at her communication history. What has she already been communicating back and forth with us? What have we already sent her? And then what will go to her shortly or in the next couple of days. Once I meet with Betty this afternoon at the high school visit, I can go and create a communication item because she attended our focus group #1, and I can put in my comments and my notes to say, I told Betty she needed to get these 3 things in, and then you can hit save, and then because of the magic of the system, right, everybody on your team, all 15 people, get updated on Betty's record if they're at all interested in Betty's record, if their job competencies are based on knowing changes to Betty's record. And so you can, anywhere in the world with an internet connection, you can keep your data agile. One of the things that is ultimately key, right, is as soon as you meet Betty, say she's a new person at your high school visit tonight, and she's a very new person, and you add her in here, and let's just put her in here. Then you change her I'm going to edit her field here. I'm going to come up here and edit. Let's just say she was a totally new student, and we moved her from she wouldn't even have been a prospect. She would go straight into inquiry, right? We would name her as an inquiry because she's a very new student to us. And as soon as you hit save, and here's the fun part, again, for us as database managers, builders for you all, as soon as you hit inquiry, then that prompts in the system all of the communication plans for Betty. So she might have, before she gets home tonight, an email waiting for her to say, it was great to see you at this visit tonight. She might have a thanks for your interest in EMAS University. She might get a phone call tomorrow. She might get a text this weekend. Whatever your inquiry communication plan items are, you would be able to launch that the second you hit save in this change in her database. And that's the really powerful thing that keeps you agile. Having that EMAS mobile, right, to be able to say, I'm going to respond to her as quickly as possible so that she feels the love and knows that we want her at our institution. There's a couple of different ways with EMAS mobile that help you do that. I'm going to not save this because I want to keep Betty's record real to Betty, but I want to also come down here to Betty's record and show you that you can call her if EMAS mobile was on you were accessing EMAS mobile from your phone. You could immediately call her if you wanted to do that. If you were watching, say you were watching Johnny Smith and he's that left-handed baseball pitcher, and he just had this phenomenal, 3-strikeout inning, you could click on that that email link, and right, you can call up an immediate email if you're, if that's on your iPhone, however it is that you're managing your communications, and you can say, hey, that was a great inning. We'd love you to come to EMAS University. We need left-handed baseball pitchers like you. And so you can send that immediate note. Currently, I'm just going to currently, but in the future shortly, this does not, the email that you would send does not currently track in EMAS. You would need to, as I showed you before, come into contact history and copy and paste that email or that text message or even the note, sort of any notes from the phone call into here. But shortly, soon, we hope to have that directly connected so that you will be able to send that in and through our system. Questions before I move out of mobile companion?
Sarah, I'll just add quickly that our counselors this year have used this more than they have in the past. We've had this for 2 years now, and this year, more so than ever, I'm hearing counselors that are using it on high school visits, just looking up student status, not necessarily entering data, but just being able to retrieve it and look at it in real time.
That's great. We like hearing that feedback, Bart. That's fantastic. That's what we hope it will be, right? If you know before you're going to go see a high school visit, if you're 40 students before, and you know them by name, you know what their nicknames are, that you've done a little bit of research, and we've made that easier for you because of Mobile Companion, then great, we're doing our job for you, so that you can give Beatrice or Betty, right, the right feel when you meet them. That's great feedback. Thank you. Any other comments, questions before we move on? Okay. Then the next item I want to share out with you is our campaign builder. And I'm going to show you here real quick. And this is the piece that Cody was talking about. You know, or you're learning, right, that for every market segment, entry term, stage combination in EMAS, you can build a communication plan. And for those of you who weren't on the call before we started today, we were talking about, I think Roxy and Bart were sharing that more and more it's not just juniors and seniors that are coming on campus for visits. Right, the enrollment funnel is including sophomores, freshmen, middle schoolers, even kindergartners for Bart. Right? It was, so how do you put them in your system and stay in touch with them over, if kindergartners, they'd be over 18 years. So if you were really thinking about having, right, a communication flow for those kindergartners or their parents over the course of 18 years, then your communication plans need to be interestingly thought out. So you might have somebody on campus, you might have, like Cody was saying before, right, I think he's got 7, and Cody, correct me if you're wrong, 7 different departments that he is saying, you guys want emails to go out to these freshmen, you want your programs to be filled with your physics students, then you guys create the physics email. And I'm right, I don't know if this is right for ENMU, but I'm as a scenario, right, if you want the physics program to excel, you guys create the email because you know yourselves better than we do necessarily. I don't know, but we'll send that email. We'll make sure it's branded right and the rest of it. Am I on target there for you, Cody?
That is exactly right.
Okay.
And they're chomping at the bit.
So I'm going to show you just very briefly the email campaign builder, which enables you to be able to build emails. And I'm going to show you here real quick. In this practice email, let's just say that this is your email template. And let's say that you want, right, you're delegating out to those 7 different departments, or let's just say at least the athletic department. You don't want them to be able to change much at all. So these items on the left-hand side are the items that they are able to edit. And we're going to see here, for example, of the 4 nav links that are possible in this email template, you are only giving them the opportunity to edit the first one for their department. For instance, this is the athletic department link. All of those others might be apply now or ask us questions, or meet your counselor. Right, so whatever you wanted these things to be, that everybody would be consistent no matter what department they're coming from, but they could change that one department link. And then this main story headline, I'm going to just close that. You could change that to be whatever you wanted it to be. So you're giving them this level of permissions. Questions on this? This is relatively new. What this does is it creates, right, you decide what the branding is. You and your marketing department might be able to coordinate what your branding is and how much everybody else can tailor it to their needs. Questions on this? Okay, just as another example.
On that.
Say again, Roxy?
Actually, this is Ashley, and I have a question on that.
Sure.
Who has like the final sign-off on the emails? Would it be like the admissions office, like they would kind of go back and forth with the athletics department, or if once the athletic department is done, they're kind of like, all right, go ahead and send?
Right. That's a great question, and the answer is whatever you decide. So the system creates has a default setting, so that anybody, if you delegate it out to those 7 departments, again, the athletic department, they could build something and it would be under construction. So it might take them 3 weeks to build the right email. And then once they're done, they could send it to whoever needs to review it. Maybe that review happens in the marketing department to make sure that the branding and everything is okay for university standards. Then, marketing's seen it, then it comes to you as the person who's in charge of the email system, because you send out the emails through Recruitment Pro. So it could be a multiple department, or it could be, right, as I think in Roxy's case, it's like all 3 of them are Roxy and Kate, because they're building them and they're creating them and they're sending them. So it all depends on your size and scope and individual choices. Roxy, you have other insights there?
Sorry, we're trying to simultaneously attend 2 webinars.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry.
I'll let Kate talk about Campaign Builder.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the question?
Can you talk a little bit about how you've used Campaign Builder and who's involved in your workflow?
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't taken it out further than just us at the moment, because we're still learning, and I've been building templates. I have maybe 2 or 3, because we have one with buttons, and then we have one that just has an image, and then we have another that has an image in sort of the center of the screen and wording on top and bottom, and then another when it's just the wording just on top. So I've been building a couple different templates that we can use for our different types of emails that we send, different events and things like that. It's been really easy. I found a place to just resize my images online, and I can upload those, and it's been so much simpler than what we were doing before, which was just creating them from scratch. So pretty much it's just been, we have an idea, and we create the email, and then email it directly from this screen, the email button, send it to our director and the associate directors, and myself a lot. I have a lot of emails from myself just to see how they look, and then get feedback, and then export them and upload them back into EMAS, and it's been a really simple process.
That's great. That's great, Kate. Thanks for that insight. Yeah, this is that button that Kate was talking about in terms of to just test it and see what it looks like, and you can preview it in a variety of different device types, so that you can see what it might look like in these different devices depending on who you are sending it to, and then you can choose who your reviewer, to who wants to approve it or send it or just preview it.
Correct.
There's one more thing. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, sorry. We tried to send it. So my personal Gmail, and then Roxy's personal Yahoo, and then our Outlook accounts, and so we try to send it across platforms as well, just because we know it looks a little different everywhere we send it. So that's handy. We can test all that before we go to the process of exporting and adding the communication items. So.
That's great. That's really actually a best practice we should probably put into our user guide. Thank you for sharing that. That's cool. One more thing before we sort of get into a wrap up. The fun part about this one is if you are, this is where you as an EMAS person can decide how much they get to see, right? So how much they toggle. So you can build your templates well enough. I think it was Cody that said that they're building one template and they're putting a lot into it. Right? This button doesn't need to show up every time. It may not be relevant every time, and this toggle capability enables you to get rid of the stuff as a builder if you don't want it in there. And so it's just a lot of fun and easy to use, as we're hearing from many folks. I'm not going to save my changes there. To help you build the email campaigns that you would then send to all of your students to help sort of target them. There's one more thing I want to share with you, two more things actually. I want to share with you as new people to EMAS, and I don't want to intimidate you, but I want to offer you a tool that has recently come into being because of our cohort collaborations. At the last conference, preparing for the last conference, we brought together the EMAS administrators. Many of you today said that you were EMAS administrators or system administrators, and you're in charge of making sure that the system of EMAS is working well. In the pre-conference discussions, I think even a few folks that are on the call today were like, wouldn't it be great if we had a year-long calendar that reminded us of everything that needs to happen for EMAS? And what you're seeing in front of you is a draft of what that was. And at our conference in June, all of the EMAS administrators that participated in the conference came together and created a list of tasks of all of the things that they do on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis to help keep EMAS the best data it possibly can be, so that those reports and the kaleidoscope is as accurate as it possibly could be. And to make sure that all of your staff are trained appropriately. In the last week or so, I've sort of added in some types of what competencies, the job competencies, do these relate to, and who might be doing them. So one, this list of tasks is general, right? So a lot of different schools said, oh, you remember to do this, oh, remember to do that, right? But the types and the roles are sort of my best guess in the last, but this Excel workbook that we're going to send you right after this enables you to create your own task list or to copy and edit this existing sample year-long calendar of things to do with EMAS. And then, of course, because it's in an Excel spreadsheet, you can toggle it down to what, as an EMAS admin, do I need to remember to do, and then you might be able to sort it. Once you've got all your columns filled in, right, you might be able to sort it by when they happen, right? If I need to do this on a daily basis, right, what do I have to do tomorrow? Some of you might be thinking, what on this list do I have to do tomorrow? Then you've got 5, 6 specific things that your fellow EMAS admin cohort members have said, remember, in order for EMAS to be happening well on your campus, these are the 6 things that you need to do on a daily basis. And so we'll share this with you so that, not to intimidate you or to, right, because it's all, right, like we take one step at a time, but it might help you to be able to begin your year, this first year, for especially those of you who are just a month old or 2 months old, 6 months old, might help you do a proactive plan for what the rest of the what the year might need to look like based on your individual role, or based on roles of people that you're responsible for either training or that you're responsible for managing. And so hopefully that will be of use to you. Any questions on this? Comments? Did I freak you out? I hope I didn't. Okay. Then one last thing for you. EMASU, if you don't have an, how many, can you raise your hand please for me? How many of you have an EMAS account, EMASU account? Okay. Oh, awesome. Awesome. I love seeing that. That's really great. Okay, so those of you who did not or were not able to raise your hand and don't have an EMSU account, let's make sure that we get one for you. So please either email us or call, or you can just go up on the main registration page. You can go up in the upper right-hand corner and click register, and our support queue managers will make sure that you get approval in the next 24 hours. The two key resources for you are the Learning Center. Again, the job-based, competency-based things, right? Manage my data, manage my recruiting. For those of you who are EMAS admins that are interested in when those release notes are coming up, this is the place on EMASU where they will be located. So if you want to know what's new with EMAS or what you might need to do to update your version, that information is found here. The last thing I want to share with you to just help you keep moving forward is that every client has a student portal, sorry, a client portal. And this is where we help manage, and thank you, Roxy, for being willing to let us see your client portal. Every client has their own common page. You all can't see Emporia's, and Emporia's can't see yours, right? It's a very private portal, and on that portal we keep information about all of the products and services that you have in use, how your recruit to retain profile could be improved, what you do in the support queue, what do you continually call on. So for those of you who are responsible for training, this might be a place where you're like, oh, managing data and communications is a place where we constantly call for. Maybe it could be beneficial for our team to do a special training, maybe a 1 or a 2 hour training on what we need, so we don't necessarily need to call in. We love that you call, don't get me wrong. We love that you call the support queue. We love that you put things in emails to us. We love that you're asking for help. So don't stop that practice. But if you see it enough, you might think, well, how can I help my staff be right, from beginners to intermediates? What's my training that I can offer them so that we raise it to the next level? And that might be one indicator for you. And then we're starting to keep track of who's using EMAS and how often you come to conferences. We haven't updated this list so in quite some time. It's my job to keep this updated, so you'll see an update in January 2018 on your individual client portals. One of the things I wanted to share with you also is, because you're attending the workshop and something might have been of value to you today, and we hope it was, that the recordings for this training, this workshop, will be put onto your training, your own custom training portal, like these individual resources are as well. It will be listed here so that you have it, and then I will upload. It's a very simple thing to upload that Excel spreadsheet for each of you so that you have it in your client portal. And then you can edit it, keep it posted so that there is a place where you have your EMAS year-long calendar that we can contribute to or you can contribute to, and it's in a place where everybody can get to it, no matter how much staff turnover there is over the course of time, which we hope there won't be, but sometimes there just is. I've sort of talked a lot there, and we're just a little bit over time. Can we do anything else, Bart, that you might want to offer to our group of new and budding EMAS leaders and managers?
Other than just if anybody wants to call and chat through just anything, I mean, feel free to reach out and you can have conversations, like Rocky said, just a cohort of folks to share ideas and bounce ideas off of. That sounds great to me.
Okay. Would you raise your hand if you were interested in becoming part of a new director, new manager cohort, if you want a group of other EMAS users? And Bart, if you don't mind tracking names of people who've raised their hands, that would be great. All right.
I can't see hand raisers, Sarah. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay. And hopefully you can track them. We'll do an initial, when we send out our follow-on email, we'll do an initial invite if you all would like to become part of a cohort. I'm
Hey,
sorry,
Sarah?
Bart. Yes, Cody.
I don't see the hand-raising option.
Oh. Okay. By your voice, shall I consider you raised?
Sure.
Okay. And if anybody, again, thank you for that. That's interesting. We'll have to figure that out and why that didn't work. We'll put an invite into the follow-on email after this so that you all have it.
Yeah,
And we'd
Kate
love for you
and I am.
to. Okay, cool. Cool. Is there? Can we do a round-robin funnel? Gino, how are you from this session? Was it what you were looking for? Do you want more? What else would you want? Especially if we're looking for a second cohort conversation.
Sure. I mean, overall, I think it was really helpful to just kind of go through everything and learn the benefits of every EMAS aspect. It was definitely what I was looking for as far as questions or concerns. Don't really have any. Like I said, I'm still kind of learning, getting my foot in the door with everything. So as of right now, it's just me messing around with stuff and learning.
Okay. Cool. Ashley, for you?
I mean, a lot of it was a refresher for me, which is good, but I didn't know about the new tool that Cody's team is implementing about the emails.
Okay.
So I'll have to touch base with Stacy on that. But that was a cool tool. But I always look for stuff on building queries. But I mean, this was great because any kind of thing I can get with EMAS right now, I'm all for. But I would also love to see workshops on query building, which I know you've had in the past, but I haven't been able to make some of them.
Okay.
But I'm definitely interested in kind of diving into that a little bit more.
Okay. We'll follow up with you on that. That's great, Ashley. Thank you. Thank you. Who's next? Carmela and Dan. Sorry, my audio's not working. Great presentation. I'd like to learn more about likeliness to enroll. Okay, Carmela, we'll be in touch. I thought that might be something useful to you in your new role. That's great. Dan, anything from you? Maybe he had to step off. That's okay. Nope, he's maybe still there. Did we cover everybody that's still on? Roxy, how about you? Or Kate, either way.
Yeah, anything? No, we're just going to mention that we created a training program, PowerPoint for our counselors right before they go out on the road, and we just discovered the other day, or they didn't let us know, but we're going to start developing a Query 101 training session for them. So.
Oh, cool. Because they're finding that they need to know queries really good, like Ashley is leading to know queries, and so you're going to build a training for that.
Right. Usually we build them for them, but kind of like to go out and try their hand at it, and they're not really we've got a lot of new ones. We hired a lot of new counselors this semester, and so we've got a lot of new ones that would like to know a little bit more. So if we can take part of the query building from our tasks and let them do it, except for the really difficult ones, that's why we're creating this Query 101 training program for them.
Okay. That's awesome. Okay.
Hey, Roxy?
Yeah?
What's the likelihood of getting your job description for your digital recruiter?
Yeah, we can get that for you.
Thanking you.
You're welcome.
Woohoo! The cohort collaboration is already in work. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Roxy, and the electronic recruiter is a new title. I don't know that we have any other client with a counselor or a staff member that is dedicated just to recruiting electronically. That's very creative.
Let me tell you what. I don't want to lose Kate ever. It's very important.
That's fantastic.
She is great. Kate does an excellent job. And she handles Campaign Builder like nothing flat.
Like nothing flat. That's
right.
Awesome. That's awesome. Anybody else? Thank you so much for pitching in. Anybody else? Cody, one for you? Anything else for you? And Dan, I saw your...
I just like the exchange of ideas.
Okay.
I mean, this is for a new director's workshop, but had I not attended, I never would have known about the new digital recruiter, electronic recruiter, and so that's something that I really would like to know. So it's always good even for us old folks, to still attend some of the new stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And let's call you veteran, not old. You're
Oh, I didn't say old. I said O-L-E, old folks.
Oh. All right. All right. On that note, I want to thank everybody, especially Bart and Cody and Roxy, our veteran folks coming in and pitching in and contributing to the conversation and leading the way for us there. And thank you to all of you who've offered questions, the new ones. Keep them coming, and we will build the training that you need over the course of time. So I want to, if you need something like Ashley just articulated, Ashley, we'll put a query workshop on the docket. And if there's only you, there's only you. But if there are more people, there are more people. And it sounds like Roxy and team might have some insights as to how we can best do that too for the local folks as well. So we'll build it based on your needs. So keep the needs coming. That's an open invitation. Thanks everybody for joining us today, and we will put out an email with those two the resources from today and invite you to our next connection for our cohort for new. Let's just call you no longer new, or new in parentheses, leaders and managers of EMAS, and we'll make that happen for you. Thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody. Bart, can you stay on? Did you already? Yeah, he went. Okay.